Local Aborigines attacked a settlement of people living in the forest, stole them to sacrifice to a god who thirsts for more and more new victims, but at one moment they chose a warrior of this god for sacrifice and wished for it. In the early 16th century, somewhere in the Central American jungle, a tapir runs frantically through the forest before it springs a tripwire trap and is impaled on a swinging branch full of spikes. Young jaguar paw puts the tapir out of its misery and eagerly divides its internal organs among his fellow hunters: curl nose, smoke frog, and cocoa leaf. Blunted receives the tapir's testicles as the brunt of a joke, since he and his wife have yet to have any children. Jaguar paw's father, Flint Sky, offers some remedial help, giving Blunted some red leaves that he instructs him to use the next time he and his wife try. They are soon interrupted by a band of refugees passing through the forest, looking downtrodden. One of them, a fisherman, addresses Jaguar Paw and explains that their village was attacked and that they are seeking a new beginning. They exchange food before the group moves on. Though Jaguar Paw is keen to know more about what happened, his father silences him and they return to their village. Just before they get back, Flint Sky explains to his son that the refugees were infected with fear and that it should not be brought into the village to fester. Jaguar Paw goes to his hut and admires his small son, Turtle's Run, before greeting his very pregnant wife, Seven. Blunted returns to his wife, Skyflower, whose mother impatiently tells him to hurry and give her grandchildren. Moments after entering their hut, Blunted runs out screaming and holding his privates before seating himself in a water trough. Flint Sky falls to the ground laughing, as the leaves he gave Blunted were meant to cause a burning sensation when rubbed. Blunted yells at him, but starts laughing with everyone else. That night, an old storyteller tells how man once received gifts from the forest, until the forest had nothing left to give. The villagers begin to play music and dance, but Jaguar Paw's mind is distracted until Seven brings him back. The following day, Jaguar Paw wakes early from a dream and notices torches of fire rapidly approaching the village. Warriors emerge, setting ablaze huts and capturing the villagers. Jaguar Paw takes his wife and son and hides them in a deep cavern, securing a rope to a nearby rock for their escape. He then rushes back to the village to assist, killing a raider on the way. However, the village is quickly overrun. Blunted is restrained, while Skyflower is forced into a hut, where she is presumably assaulted and killed. Jaguar Paw tries to free his father, but is knocked down by a raider. Middle Eye, a raider who was nearly killed by Jaguar Paw and is nicknamed Almost Flint Sky, tells his son not to fear as he holds him and slits his throat. All surviving captives are bound together on long poles and led away into the forest by the Hawkane hunting party. One of the raiders, Snake Inc., notices Jaguar Paw looking towards the cavern as they pass by. He investigates, but does not spot Seven and Turtle's Run. However, he becomes suspicious of the dangling rope and cuts it. Zero Wolf, the fierce leader of the Hawkins, reunites with his son, Court Rock, who has a swollen right eye from a blow to the head. Zero Wolf cuts lines into his brow to release the pressure, allowing his son to see clearly. The two raider groups meet up and capture a band of refugees seen the previous day. Jaguar Paw recognizes the fishermen among them as they journey deeper into the forest. Followed by the children of both clans, they reach a raging river. The river halts the children, and the eldest girl claims them as her responsibility, promising to care for them. That night, as they camp, Zero Wolf gives his son a large dagger, a symbol of his manhood, proven by the successful raid. Blunted vows to take as many captors with him to hell if he doesn't find his Skyflower. The next day, while traversing a precarious cliff path, Cocoa Leaf, severely injured in the village raid, slips and dangles over the edge. Jaguar Paw and the others manage to pull him back to safety, while Middle Eye watches with interest and provokes them to regain their stability. He then releases Cocoa Leaf from his binds and pushes him over the cliff. Zero Wolf scolds him for losing a captive, but Middle Eye claims he was dead weight. Despite this, Middle Eye hesitates to argue further, promising not to repeat his actions, before striding alongside Jaguar Paw, taunting him once more, and referring to him as Almost. Snake Inc. looks towards civilization as they near it. The party passes through a deforested area and fields of ruined crops where dead villagers lie, devastated by a sickness. A young girl, afflicted with sores on her face and hands, approaches the group, but when Snake Inc. forcibly pushes her away, she turns to Jaguar Paw with a vacant expression. She then fixes her gaze on Snake Inc. and foretells their destruction, warning of a man who will bring darkness of night, a jaguar reborn from mud and earth, and those who will erase the sky. She claims that this man is among them now. As the party moves forward, and she continues to call out to them. They reach a city where laborers work in limestone quarries, covered in white dust from quicklime. A worker coughs up blood, and an elderly man approaches the captives, pleading for help with drool on his chin. He is shoved away by a hall cane and told to perish with dignity. The female captives are separated from the males and sold into slavery. Blunted observes as his mother-in-law is put up for auction but is ultimately refused due to her age. She is allowed to wander freely and follows Blunted as far as she can, touching his arm reassuringly before closing her eyes in resignation against a pillar. The group is led through a tunnel where they see murals depicting human sacrifices. Women with painted bodies are led up a step pyramid where the victims' heads are tossed down the steps and gathered in baskets below. Jaguar witnesses the sacrificial ritual, with victims having their hearts ripped out and heads severed. Likewise, Curiosity suffers the same fate before Jaguar Paw is brought to the altar. Accepting his impending doom, he awaits as the high priest pauses due to a solar eclipse. The priest proclaims to the crowd that their deity is pleased and beseeches the return of the sun. However, the priest and Mayan leaders are aware that the eclipse will pass, using celestial events to manipulate the populace and their foes. He then orders Zero Wolf to dispose of the other captives. Jaguar Paw and the rest are taken to an ancient ball court and instructed to sprint its length towards the forest at the end, with a cynical promise of freedom if they reach it. Court Rock dashes to the finish line at the end of the court, revealing that the captives are to be used as targets for practice. Blunted and Smoke Frog are the first to run. But suddenly, Blunted is pierced in the lower back with a spear, while Smoke Frog is struck by a large rock before being dealt the finishing blow by Court Rock. Next, Jaguar Paw and the fisherman are instructed to escape. Middle Eye tears off Jaguar Paw's necklace and hurls it to the ground, a foreboding sign. Before he can flee, they dodge most of the projectiles, but the fisherman is fatally shot in the head by Snake Eye. Jaguar Paw is then impaled through his side, collapsing near Blunted. Just as Court Rock is about to finish him, Blunted lunges and seizes Court Rock by the leg, buying Jaguar Paw some time. Court Rock swiftly kills Blunted with a single blow to the head. However, Jaguar Paw breaks off the arrowhead lodged in his own body and thrusts it into Court Rock's neck. Court Rock staggers as Jaguar Paw rises, removes the arrow shaft from his side, and escapes into the forest. Zero Wolf rushes to his son, guiding him into eternal rest as he passes away in his arms. Zero Wolf retrieves his dagger and places his son's necklace in his belt before pursuing Jaguar Paw, consumed with vengeance. The other Hall Canes follow him. Jaguar Paw runs through a cornfield and tumbles into a massive open grave filled with the remains of countless sacrificial victims. He crosses the decaying bodies and disappears into the jungle, climbing a tree to hide, his wound still bleeding. The Hall Canes race past below him, and once they are gone, he notices a growling black jaguar cub staring at him. Suddenly, a menacing mother jaguar roars behind him. Meanwhile, the Hall Canes halt, realizing they have lost Jaguar Paw's trail. One observes blood on Middle Eye's shoulder, prompting them to backtrack. They spy Jaguar Paw darting through the forest and give chase as Speaking Wind pursues him. Their paths converge in a clearing, and Speaking Wind is savagely attacked by the pursuing jaguar, ultimately perishing before the others arrive and slay the beast. Drunkards 4 shun the ill omen tied to killing the jaguar, while Snake Inc. recalls the prophetic words of the strange girl and urges caution. Zero Wolf silences them all, determined to locate and eliminate Jaguar Paw. The pursuit stretches through the night and into the morning. At one point, Drunkards 4 approaches a tree smeared with blue paint by Jaguar Paw, only to be bitten in the neck by a hanging serpent. Moss advises him to let the blood flow for a swifter demise. Eventually, the Hall Canes catch up to Jaguar Paw, cornering him and driving him to leap over the edge of a towering waterfall. He survives, standing on the riverbank and calling out to. The Hall Canes declare that this is his woodland, and his offspring will persist in hunting there. Restless, Zero Wolf fatally wounds Snaking when he proposes descending instead of leaping. Buzzard Hook is the initial one to jump, but perishes when he strikes his head on a submerged stone. But the rest are luckier and continue their chase as he escapes. Jaguar Paw lands in a muddy pit, but successfully climbs out. Afterward he halts and determines that he is unafraid and will no longer flee. As the Hall Canes draw near, covered in dark mud, Jaguar Paw challenges them and throws a live wasp's hive at them, provoking the wasps to attack. Jaguar Paw dashes towards a stream where he discovers a poisonous arrow frog and gathers its venom on a few large thorns. He runs in a circle and conceals himself in the reeds, waiting for the Hawkins as thunder rolls overhead. Meanwhile, Seven tries to flee the cistern by throwing a stalactite to the surface with the rope attached to it. She manages to climb halfway, but the rock comes loose, causing her to tumble, though she is scarcely injured. Her water breaks from the shock. The Hawkins pass Jaguar Paw's hiding spot. He takes a large leaf and fashions it into a blowgun, shooting his darts at Hanging Moss, weakened by the wasp stings. Hanging Moss falls to the ground. His cries draw Middle Eye, who rushes over. Middle Eye and Jaguar Paw confront each other, eyeing the club that Hanging Moss dropped. Middle Eye's swings his own as they near each other, and Jaguar Paw barely dodges, enduring a slight blow to the head as he slips under Middle Eye's strike. Picking up Hanging Moss's club, Jaguar Paw rises to strike Middle Eye in the temple. Middle Eye addresses him almost for a final time as Jaguar Paw delivers a fatal blow under the chin. Suddenly, rain begins to fall, and Jaguar Paw races to the cistern, knowing it will soon fill with water. Zero Wolf and the remaining Hawkins observe Metal Eye's body and Jaguar. Paul, racing into the forest. Infuriated Zero Wolf outpaces the others in his pursuit. Jaguar Paw arrives at the cistern to find it filling with water, with Seven in labour, screaming for him to hurry. An arrow narrowly misses Jaguar Paw, and he flees into the jungle. As Zero Wolf closes in, Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary pause by the cistern to see Seven and Turtles flee at the bottom, before resuming the pursuit. Jaguar Paw halts at a specific spot in the woods that he recognises and turns to confront Zero Wolf, who shoots an arrow into his shoulder. Despite being wounded, Jaguar Paw stands, waits, and watches as Zero Wolf charges at him with his dagger drawn. Zero Wolf fails to notice a tripwire and triggers the snare trap, getting impaled on its sharp spikes and perishing. Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary arrive as they chase Jaguar Paw to the shore, where he collapses from fatigue. Upon catching up with him, they halt, gazing at the sea where a small fleet of Spanish ships is anchored. Soldiers and missionaries are rowing ashore in small boats. Enthralled, Monkey Jaw and Ten Peccary approach the shoreline, while Jaguar Paw races back to the cistern. He discovers that Seven has just given birth and pulls his family out of the cistern. Later, when the rain ceases, Jaguar Paw carries his newborn son, followed by Seven and Turtles. They glance back at the Spanish ships, and Seven inquires if they should approach them. Jaguar Paw suggests they head to the woods instead and pursue a new commencement. And that concludes this movie.